What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the best vendor roles available for sale this week, which is June 20th to the 27th. Now that's because ever since the introduction of the Age of Triumph, vendors now have rotating perks on their weapons. So every week we go in and shout out the best combinations that you should definitely consider buying. And so let's get started with the universal vendors, and beginning with our old friend, the Crucible Quartermaster. Some decent weapons this week. Firstly, we have a pretty darn solid B29 Party Favor Pulse Rifle. This Pulse Rifle belongs to the best Pulse Rifle archetype for PvP right now. The Hawksaw and the Aegis of the Reef and other good Pulse Rifles also belong to this archetype. So firstly, we have an excellent sight with the Steady Hand IS, as you can see, pretty substantially increasing the stability just by putting on this sight. Next, we have Feeding Frenzy and Outlaw, both massively increasing that reload if you do need it. Next up, we have Small Bore, increasing the range and stability at the cost of some magazine size. Now, of course, this isn't great, but if you're running, for example, Outlaw, this downside isn't too bad because you can reload blindingly fast. If you can handle the stability, you can always put on Rifled Barrel as well, pretty drastically increasing the range. And then lastly, Headseeker, an excellent perk for pulse rifles, making it a lot more consistent because even if you don't land all your headshots, you can still get that optimal time to kill. Moving on from there, the next weapon we're going to take a look at is the Each New Day Fusion Rifle. Pretty solid roll this week. Firstly, life support actually quite decent with fusion rifles because you often take damage as you're charging and shooting an enemy. So life support, as soon as you kill the enemy, can regain you some health. Knee pads is also good as well. Then we have Brace Frame, massively increasing the stability, would also be decent with this weapon, but mainly we're looking at Rifled Barrel, just hugely increasing that range, and that's really going to help you land those one-hit kills with the Each New Day. Moving on from there, we have Hot Swap. Not the best perk overall, but actually quite a decent perk with fusion rifles, gonna let you switch to a fusion rifle, gain that bonus to accuracy, and land a pretty damn devastating shot on your opponent. Moving on from there, we have every week, hashtag Cult of the Curtain Call. This 44 Curtain Call puts on a decent perk roll every damn week. This week, we've got knee pads, an outright good perk with shotguns. Then we've got pretty much the best perk you're looking for, which is Rifled Barrel, massively increasing that range. And then lastly, Full Auto. It's going to increase your rate of fire overall. I've heard several reports saying it tightens up your spread, and it makes this gun actually quite usable in PvE. Like if you need a PvE shotgun, maybe consider even picking this up because Full Auto is the best PvE perk you're looking for in shotguns. But alas, it's time to move on to the next universal vendor with the Vanguard Quartermaster. Unfortunately, not too much decent stuff this week. In fact, literally one weapon worth looking at, and that one weapon is the Parthian Shot. However, this is more than decent. This is literally one sight off from being what I believe is the God roll. So we do have the Quick Draw IS that's going to allow you to aim down sights faster, which is definitely a decent sight, but Steady Hand would be better. Next we have Partial Refend and Outlaw, both great, Outlaw probably being the better one. Then we have, very importantly, Braced Frame. Massively increasing the stability at the cost of a little bit of magazine size, but of course again with that Outlaw perk, really not so bad. And then very importantly we have Headseeker. There's somewhat of a debate within the community between Headseeker or Counterbalance. I've played with both. I've had these same perk layouts with Counterbalance and Headseeker, and I much prefer Headseeker. The Parthian Shot is of a unique damage archetype. It can kill in only 2 bursts, giving you a phenomenal time to kill. But you need to land literally every single shot of every single burst to the head. So if you get one body shot, your time to kill goes to crap. Unless you have Headseeker, because you can go body head head or even body body head, and because of the increased damage from Headseeker, you can still land that optimal 2 burst time to kill, which is really important. So I really do love Headseeker. Pick this up if you don't have a good Parthian shot. It's a really unique and fun gun to use. Moving on, however, we need to check out the faction vendors, and starting us off, we have Dead Orbit. And guys, Dead Orbit is banging this week. Literally every single gun being sold by Dead Orbit, I think, is worth a look at. Firstly, with this Extremophile auto rifle, we've got we've got the best sight period with the Steadyhand IS, increasing the stability by a pretty darn decent amount. Next up, we have high caliber rounds, which increases the amount of flinch you cause opponents, which is going to let you win your gunfights. Very good perk overall. And then we have Small Bore. Small Bore increases the range and the stability at the cost of some magazine size. But this weapon has a 37 round magazine. It can take a little bit of a small bore hit. And then lastly, Rangefinder, increasing that range. So this is overall just a very solid roll. It's got benefits to stability and range and makes enemies flinch more. Overall, again, quite solid. Moving on from there, we have what is, quite arguably the PvE God roll Keystone 01 Scout Rifle. Now, firstly, explosive rounds. The most important perk, period, you are looking for with these high damage, single shot, low rate of fire weapons in PvE. Explosive rounds is going to take that high damage, and this is a high damage scout rifle, spread it around, let you flinch and damage multiple enemies with a single shot. Super important. This is combined with Outlaw, so you're going to really drastically increase your overall damage output because you're going to reload so fast and get right back to damaging enemies. And then lastly, very importantly, crowd control. Now, I've been surprised by how many people that don't understand how good crowd control is in PvE, but it is so easy to activate. Killing an enemy in PvE during a raid encounter, during any encounter with a scout rifle is incredibly easy. You're just killing ads, you're killing dregs and thralls, so you are activating crowd control almost constantly, and it gives you a pretty substantial damage bonus. And that's important because enemies that would otherwise be a 2-hit kill, like a body shot to a vandal, with crowd control will now possibly be like a 1-hit kill. And if you can start getting that crowd control bonus and start one-banging every ad you see, that is incredibly good for PvE. So if you want a good PvE scout, definitely consider getting this Keystone. Moving on from there, we have a very solid roll on this Worlds to Come fusion rifle. We've got lightweight, which is, okay, not great honestly. And then we've got accelerated coils. Some people swear by accelerated coils. Moving on from there, importantly, we have hammer forged, increasing the range and accuracy by a pretty decent chunk. And then lastly, also we have Rangefinder. So Hammer Forged plus Rangefinder, that's an overall pretty decent roll. Now moving on from there, we have another pretty damn decent roll on this Last Ditch 001 shotgun. This shotgun is in the same damage archetype as the Matador 64, so it is definitely no joke. We've got Snapshot and Flared Magwell. Both are, let's be honest, okay. The perfect perk you're looking for here is Hand Loaded. If you get that, you've got the absolute god roll. But more importantly than Hand Loaded, we have Hammer Forged, increasing the range by a pretty substantial chunk and quite nearly reaching the range maximum for shotguns. You're just a tiny bit off. And then that's combined with Rangefinder, which is going to increase the range even more so when you aim down sights. And you better believe Rangefinder plus Snapshot is a wombo combo. So this is an incredibly solid PvP shotgun. It's not the best. A Matador 64 will beat this pretty much every time. But if you don't have a Matador 64 and you want to use a shotgun in PvP, definitely consider picking this one up. Moving on from there, we have a more than solid, a very good roll on the Bitter Edge 010 sniper rifle. This sniper has incredible aim assist, the second highest legendary for all snipers in Destiny in terms of aim assist, so it's just incredible. Firstly, short gaze sight, one of the best sights you're looking for, low zoom, fantastic. Next, Snapshot, one of the best sniper rifle perks, period, gonna help you aim down sights faster. After that, Clown Cartridge, which is going to, have a chance to increase your magazine from 5 to 6. So pretty decent there. And lastly, Firefly. Again, you don't need Hidden Hand. So might as well use something like Firefly that can get you those crispy multi-kills every once in a while in PvP. All around, excellent roll on this bitter edge. And then lastly, as I said, every single weapon in Dead Orbit is worth looking at. This Unto Dust has a pretty damn decent PvP rocket launcher roll. We've got, firstly, Hard Launch, increasing the pretty abysmal velocity by a decent chunk. Next, we've got Field Scout, increases ammo carrying capacity. And then we've got Heavy Payload, increasing the blast radius and making up for Hard Launch. Lastly, Tracking, arguably the best perk you're looking for in PvP rocket launchers. So like, again, if you need a decent legendary rocket launcher for PvP, definitely consider getting to this Unto Dust. It doesn't have the best stats in terms of blast radius, velocity, and all of that stuff, but it does have some very solid perks. Now, moving on to the next faction vendor, we have Future War Cult. And the first thing we're going to look at is the Whale Hand Cannon. Now, right off the bat, explosive rounds. One of the best perks, again, you're looking for in PvE, but also pretty solid in PvP, and that's because with explosive rounds, you don't actually have damage drop-off on the 50% of your damage that's been converted into the explosive damage. So if you're shooting someone right in the face or across the map, your explosive damage is always going to be the same amount. And that means if you're shooting someone across the map with this whale with explosive rounds, you're going to be doing more damage than a palindrome or an IS Luna. It's just how explosive rounds work. Now this is combined with Hammer Forged. Not many guns in the game can get explosive rounds and a range increasing perk. Mostly you're going to have to choose explosive rounds over something like Hammer Forged or Rifled Barrel, etc. But this one you get to have both, and that is also combined with Rangefinder. So explosive rounds plus Hammer Forged plus Rangefinder. This thing is actually quite interesting. If you are someone who likes hand cannons in PvP, definitely consider adding this to your arsenal. It's not going to be as consistent 3-banging people as the IS Luna for sure, but it will have an actual advantage once the IS Luna starts dropping off, and it's just another very interesting thing to use in PvP. And don't fool yourself, this is actually also a very good PvE role. You get to run explosive rounds and also Outlaw. Like, that's fantastic, so get it for there as well. And after that, we have a very solid roll on this The Waltz Pulse Rifle. We have the best sight you're looking for, Steady Hand IS. We've got high caliber rounds, again fantastic on this weapon, can help you win gunfights, and then small bore. Perfect balance would probably be better here, but small bore increases the stability and range, and the Waltz, interestingly enough, is one of the lowest damaging pulse rifles. Most of them got hit by magazine size nerfs, the Waltz didn't, so you can take a little bit of a small bore hit. And then lastly we have Headseeker, again increasing your consistency. Small bore is going to make this bounce around a little bit more than something like Perfect Balance, but Headseeker kind of negates that because it bounces around, well, right to the head from the body. So perfect, you get that Headseeker bonus. Now, moving on from there, last vendor we're checking out is New Monarchy, and unfortunately, really only one decent thing worth looking at this week, and that is this Deposition Sniper Rifle. Now, it is actually a very solid roll. We've got Ambush, one of the best sights you can get. Moving on from there, Snapshot, again, excellent with snipers. After that, Triple Tap, excellent with snipers. If you can land those 3 rapid shots, even in PvP, you get that extra round. Like, that's a free kill, essentially, you've just got. Ammo is super important in PvP now with the current special ammo economy. And then lastly, Unflinching. One of the best sniper rifle perks you can get, period. It's going to make it easier for you to land your shots while under fire. So guys, that is it for the best vendor weapons this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. Now, if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny and Destiny 2 content, be sure to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.